Hello everybody and welcome to my video. We are working on hide and seek in this video, but this is going to be more of a generic video for taking papers out. So this will apply for basically any project that you're working on. When do I take the papers out? And so I wanted to work on this smaller piece to show you which papers can come out, because actually it may look like a lot of these papers can come out, but not many can. So that's why I wanted to show you on this one. So the rule of thumb for taking papers out with English paper piecing is every single edge must be encased. And you might be saying, okay, so this dark pink, all of them are encased because all the edges touch a polka dot. But no, that is not the case. So these four are not considered encased because this tip is not covered by something here. And that is, some people will take it out. I definitely think you should not. And the reason is because when you're sewing this piece in, ultimately, you're gonna have more rigidity if you keep this paper in, because it makes this seam point more rigid. So that is my rule of thumb. Obviously there's no hard set rules in English paper piecing, but since this is my video, that's what I do. So these four will not come out yet. However, all the other six can come out because I have already pieced in this edge piece. So this triangle, or diamond, sorry, is surrounded on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because this corner is also surrounded, sides. So that's what you want to make sure you're thinking of. It's even where the points are. So like this one cannot come out because these points are not inset yet. So wherever, even where the points are, we do not take it out until that is also covered. So we can take out these 6, and I'll show you how we do that. So obviously we go to the back side. And again, you just want to make sure you're paying attention. So this one can come out because it is covered by this. All you do, so I glue based, so all you would do is just gently lift up your edges. Don't try and be too rough. You can also use like a little stylus or something like that. I found actually a little manicure tool for my manicure kit work. They have one that pushes back your cuticles, so it's kind of a flat little tool, will help, but you don't even necessarily need that. You just want to be nice and gentle and pull back most of the glue. So once you can get your fingers under a piece of paper, then you simply release it. We don't want to rip the paper because we do want to try and reuse these most likely. You just take it out and that's it. And I like to take my papers out as I go, only because it makes it a little easier to work with a big project if it's not covered in paper. So as things get surrounded, I do take my papers out. As long as you're careful about folding these and putting it away as you stitch and not over playing with them. Once this is all stitched together, obviously I'm going to stitch stuff on the outside, but don't, you know, overdo they're not going to unravel or anything. And it is a huge undertaking to try to take the papers out all at the end. So personally, I would not suggest that. I think it'll be very mind-boggling and time-consuming to do that. I would definitely suggest taking them out as you go. So as you finish each block, you can take out pieces that you know you can. So on this one, like I can take out these 6. And then as you attach blocks together, so once I attach something here, I'll take out a couple more, and so on and so forth. So basically, as you go, just the edges should remain with the papers. So let me zoom in a little and I'll show you another one, how we do that. Nice and simple. So again, we're just gonna go in here, gently pull back the paper, and you can see my little rosette. Everyone was concerned about this being a little too puffy when you first sew it. I sewed this quite a while ago. It's been sitting just on a table, nice and flat, and you can see how flat it is now. So it does, you know, just make it nice and pretty, let it lay flat, it'll settle itself out. It's not a big deal. But so you just, again, peel these papers back. Once you can get your finger under one edge, it makes it a little easier. So if you have a little bit of, like this end has a little bit of toughness, it's because I do glue my corners pretty well especially when I'm doing these repeated patterns. So you do want to just go in and help that. But if you can get your finger under the paper, you can kind of work the paper and the fabric at the same time, because obviously you don't want to pull at the fabric too much either. We're not trying to fray the fabric or anything. And then once it's free, you have another one out. And so you would just go around, and then you can lay your edges back down. Once this is pretty much done, I will go in and iron these. I know some people iron as they go, but this is going to be, I'll get all crinkled up again as I stitch it to the other pieces, so I don't really see the point in that. And honestly, you don't even really have to iron, because once it's stitched in, it's really not going anywhere. So I don't iron. I might iron at the end, but we'll see. But I would only do it once it's all done and I'm ready to actually stitch it and put my backing on, just to make it all nice and flat. But as it sits, this is going to be an 18-month project. So this particular block was in our first month. This is going to sit flat for 18 months. You're really not going to have any issues with any of these being curly by the time you get ready to do the next, to do the final product. All right, so we'll just keep. So again, you just want to pull at your corners, kind of start where your fold is. So my fold's right in the middle there. That'll give you something to grip onto. Go underneath. You can even put your, I have my finger in the back there, kind of pushing the paper up a little bit too. That helps. Just don't try to rip the paper. If it feels a little stuck, just work it a little bit more to get that glue off of it, and it'll come undone easy enough. So again, this goes for pretty much any English paper pieced project that you're working on. You want to make sure it's surrounded on every single side, including the points. You do not want to take the points out early. It just makes it a little more floppy. You don't really need that. It just makes your life a little more difficult. Once it's surrounded on the point, you can take that one out. If you caught your edges or anything like that when you're sewing, just don't pull at them. It's fine. This is not going to be undone. There's nothing more to be done once these papers come out. So even if I had sewn in this fold or something like that, I'm just going to gently pull my paper out and let it be, and it's not a problem at all. These are all my extra papers. So we got one more that we can do. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be our last one that we can do on this star. So my method will be, and usually my method is, as I finish each block, I take my papers out. So then as I'm attaching it to the next block, it's a little more manageable, a little less stiff to work with. And you'll see as you take these papers out, all of your stitching kind of eases into itself on the front, which is nice. So if you had seen some of your stitches and stuff, they kind of ease into themselves as you take those out. So you can see up here, you can see even less stitching than down here where the papers are still in. So that's the nice thing about the final product, is once all the papers are out, you really aren't going to see too much. But that is how you take papers out. Like I said, I would definitely do that as you go. If you try to do it on the whole project, number one, it's going to be such a headache to do it on every single one. And honestly, you might miss one or two, and that's not going to feel very comfortable. You're going to notice it as soon as you start quilting, and it's going to be really difficult to go back in and try and take that out afterwards. So this way, you do it in small pieces, everything comes out as it should, and you're good to go. So hopefully this was helpful to you for taking papers out. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below. Please like this video so YouTube knows that it is interesting content. And make sure you subscribe to my channel, as I do only post these videos very sporadically, and you want to be alerted by YouTube when I post a new one. I also have a Facebook page that I've been doing tips and tricks, some just photos and stuff, and reposting of these videos on Facebook. So if you want to check that out for little tips and tricks above and beyond these videos, be sure to do so. The link will be in the description below as well. So hopefully this was helpful, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks everybody. Bye.